All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the 4-2 Seattle Seahawks huge bounce back victory at home yesterday afternoon, 20-10 against divisional rival, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, this certainly wasn't a pretty offensive game, but man, they say defense wins championships for a reason. I am absolutely enamored. I love the Seattle Seahawks defense, and I just want to take a second at the start of this video to shout out these guys, especially some of these new pieces coming on over. Bobby Wagner comes back, Jerron Reed, these former Seahawks, they have been absolutely killing it. Jamal Adams is back and healthy. I know Trey Brown came back a week ago, but he's back, he's healthy, he's had some nice interceptions this season. Julian Love, Devon Witherspoon, I love this defense. I mean, this feels like a special group. They love to hit. They love to hit. They seek it out. And I just feel like in 2023 in the National Football League, especially as a group, this is a hungry ass team. And you don't see defensive players stacked on a defense that just love to hit. I mean, that's the football I was born and raised loving. And it just has me very excited. Now, I know this wasn't a great offensive game. And I think it's very important to keep in mind they're still banged up, man. You're missing wide receiver number 1 in DK Metcalf. You're missing some critical offensive linemen. We're going to talk everything about Seattle in yesterday's game and just in general, because this was a huge win. You've got some difficult games coming up on the slate, specifically the next 2 weeks. Some great defenses in the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, that's 2 top 5 defenses right there. So Seattle certainly has some things to clean up, but sitting here at 4-2, they're very under the radar. They're flying under the radar just like they did last season. And I think everybody would agree they're a much better team. They're a much better roster than they were 1 year ago. So before we get into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Seahawks fans, I love you guys as always. You always bless my videos. If you try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So yeah, man, offensively, it wasn't pretty. Geno Smith, just 18 of 24, only 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. One thing we say a lot on this channel is good teams win ugly, man. A win is a win, and I try to not say this in every ugly win, but folks, this isn't college football. Context does not matter. A win is a win. And if you notice, great teams, Super Bowl champion teams, deep playoff run teams, they find ways to win ugly. And that's what we saw yesterday with Seattle. Now, there are still some things I really like about their offense from yesterday's performance. First things first, Kenneth Walker III, the dude's such a rising star running back in this league. 26 carries, 105 yards, averaged 4 yards per rush, along with a long of 25. I was watching the Patriots game earlier today. Sorry to my Pats fans for catching this stray here, but it's just so nice to have a running back and a team that has these big explosive plays. Now, right, there's no DK Metcalf. No DK Metcalf. Now, you are playing the Arizona Cardinals, and they were 1-5 heading into this game. They're 1-6, but as we all know with divisional games, especially Seahawks fans, they play hard, man. Divisional games in general, it doesn't matter what your record is. You could be 15-0 going up against an 0-15 team. They are going to play hard. They're playing for pride. They're playing for contracts. It's deeper. It's deep. It's a divisional football game. So Arizona, not an easy win as we've seen actually this season, but there was no DK Metcalf, and there's 2 players that we talked about all freaking summer on this channel that kind of finally got going. And yes, their names are Jake Bobo and Jackson Smith-Njigba. Now, Jake Bobo had one of the craziest catches, touchdown catches that I have seen with my own 2 eyes. For some weird reason, maybe it's because I didn't watch too much SportsCenter this morning or too many sports talk shows or whatever, I haven't seen too much about that catch. That was a phenomenal catch. Jake Bobo and JSN getting these 2 guys involved, because you've got a 3-headed monster at tight end. You have DK Metcalf, my star wide receiver 1. I have the most reliable wide receiver 2 veteran wideout in Tyler Lockett as humanly possible. If I could get a guy like JSN and Jake Bobo involved, that opens up your offense so more, because once Zach Charbonnet comes back healthy, and I already have Kenneth Walker, and I've got a fully competent QB in Geno Smith, folks, this offense has yet to hit the tip of the iceberg. If we were to actually dive into a little bit more of deeper analytics, they're the 20th ranked rushing team, passing yards in total on the season, they're right there at 20th as well. However, they're still putting up 24 points per game. That's 11th in the league. And they're only giving up 20 points per game, which is good for 12th in the league. Now, JSN's one of these players, first round draft pick out of The Ohio State University. He finished with 4 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown, including the long of 28. Now, nobody was calling JSN a bust, and Seahawks fans certainly were not calling it. They understand what the word is. The reason we have not seen too much JSN heading into yesterday afternoon's football game is because of the banged up offensive line. If my offensive line, and guys, like the Seahawks offensive line was banged up, and they still are banged up. Your offensive line, it's a point of weakness. I mean, you're playing bench offensive linemen. Now, I like the Seahawks offensive line depth, but these still aren't your starters. So what happens? Well, they're running a lot of 2 tight end sets out there. And when I'm running 2 tight end sets and I've got Kenneth Walker, I've got Geno, I've got DK, and I've got Lockett, there just isn't as much snap opportunity, not only for JSN, but especially Jake Bobo in these instances. So I think we said this stat maybe on our last Seahawks video. JSN was only seeing like 50% of snaps for majority of the first 4 or 5 football games this season. So these are huge confidence momentum builders, but you also have to keep in mind, as these offensive linemen get healthier and healthier, and as JSN and Jake Bobo progress through their rookie season, they're only going to improve. All of this is only going to get better. So no, I don't have any concerns about and by the way, they still put up 300 yards. Once again, it was an ugly win, but a win is a win. Now, defensively, I mean, we saw it on display. I mean, if you watched the Cincinnati game, about a month ago, if you watched that Giants game on primetime Monday Night Football, that was when this new Seahawks defense was really on display. I mean, this is no weakness. I mean, they are not a weakness. Now, if you remember, if you're a Seahawks fan, you remember last season, what was their thorn in the ass? It was rush defense. Well, folks, this season, the Seattle Seahawks defense is ranked 3rd in the National Football League for opposing yards just rushing. I said that incorrectly, but you get what I'm saying. They're 3rd in total rushing average, giving up just 3.5 yards per carry, and they are the 3rd best rush defense in the National Football League. Shout out to every one of these defensive players. They're so deep. We could sit here and talk the next 8 minutes about every single starter and depth bench piece on the Seattle Seahawks defense. I'll save you guys some time, and I'll save myself the breath here. I love this secondary. They're getting healthier, right? Jamal Adams is back. Julian Love has been a phenomenal addition. Jaron Reed, Bobby Wagner, phenomenal reacquisitions. We got rookies in Devin Witherspoon. I mean, this is a deep-ass defense. So, I know the rest of the schedule doesn't look great. Keep in mind, man, things change on a week-to-week basis. I wouldn't worry about it. Deshaun Watson probably won't play next week. You're going up against a great defense in Cleveland and Baltimore. You do have Cleveland at home, and then you head to Baltimore. 2 difficult games. Just win one of them, and I will be thoroughly thrilled with a 5-3 Seattle Seahawks record around the halfway point of the regular season. Now, that's it for tonight, man. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. But Seahawks fans, let me know what you guys are thinking about your team down below.